It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. I'm going to fix my microphone. Oh my goodness. It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. I just came in from out of town last night, set up my system this morning, and oh my God, everything was out of whack. I had no battery on my mouse. That's my biggest issue is my mouse is on no battery. So this is going to be a whole interesting show today because I'm going to have to be plugging in between the show. And I've talked about this before. Biggest mistake Apple computers have ever made is not having the ability to plug and use your mouse at the same time. Steve Jobs, still around? Just kidding. Anyone at Apple, can we fix this? Can we get like a situation where we can get an Apple mouse and something that we can use at the same time? Plus, my mic was not working, so I had to get Lance over here to plug my mic back in and get it all set up. It's a Saturday. I'm getting ready to go down to Anaheim to hang out with my other man in my life, Zach Peter. We are going to go down to VidCon and we're doing a live Spotify podcast recording for No Filter with Zach. I am so excited to hang out with him today. I am all out of sorts because I spent the week in Charleston. I had a wonderful time in Charleston. I can't wait to tell you guys all about that. I realized last night on my flight home that there was a huge, long, big post about me going to Boone Plantation. Let me tell you, did I create a stink in the Reddit community for going to the place that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds got married? Wow. Here's the weird thing about that. You know, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds got married on a slave plantation, and somehow they got mad at me. They got mad at I was the one in trouble. This was really an odd thing. This was a strange situation. But you know what? I'll take one for the team, for these idiots. That's how we say it in the Daily Dose of Donna community. I will explain everything about my about my Boone Plantation tour, why I went there, why it wasn't simply because of Blake Lively. If only she was so lucky, how that was just, a cherry on the top to explain to the TikTok world and to the YouTube world and to the Instagram world, just a real life experience of what it was like to be at Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' wedding location. But if people actually are that insane to think that I actually took my family of four all the way across the United States from Los Angeles, California, where I reside, to Charleston, South Carolina, where, me and geography, we don't mix well. Did you know that was very far? Did you know that South Carolina and California are across the country? It's a long ass flight. It's about a 5-hour flight from here. It ain't easy to get there. If you think that I took my entire family all the way to Boone Plantation just to expose Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and then just flew back home to LA just to continue, yeah, you're sorely mistaken. No. We went on a vacation and that was just a little portion of the trip. And we didn't go to Boone Plantation just to talk about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. We went on a historical tour of the area and to see history, including the plantation. And then, oh, look, this is where Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds got married. In between the slave dwellings and the cotton dock, just as one would if you're insane. That's just a personal experience. Now, we'll get into all of that and more when I get into the Blake and Justin stories later, but we have so much to talk about because Karen Reed and the whole town is talking. Everyone just has been so silent, but now they're all talking. Okay. And you know who else is talking? Kelly Wolf. Kelly Wolf, Scott Wolf's now ex-wife, is talking. I mean, I assume the divorce is final. I don't even know if if it's final. It's wild. And you know what? She's asking for people not to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I have some insight on the story just from different people who I've spoken to. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the Valley. We're going to talk about just a bunch of different things. I have a lot of things to talk about. So, everyone, get cozy, get comfortable, because this is your Saturday fun episode of Daily Dose of Donna. Thank you, everyone, for being here on a Saturday. What are you guys doing today? I had such an amazing time in Charleston. Truly, Charleston is like, that is such a fun spot. Could I move there? Honestly, I should, because Los Angeles is way too expensive. Although I think we spent $3,000 on food. The food in Charleston is phenomenal. I mean, we have great food here in LA, but like the food scene in Charleston, we went to BTW. That's Austin and Craig's spot. I just say Austin because like I met Austin, right? So for those people that watch Southern Charm, I met Austin. We went to BTW. It was just a few blocks from where we were staying. Great martini. One of the best actually the best martini I had in Charleston was at BTW. And it was packed. We got there early. We got there like for a pre-dinner drink. It was packed, packed, packed. There was just 2 seats at the bar just for Lance and I. And it was the best martini I had had the entire trip. But here's the kicker. 2 martinis plus all the taxes in Charleston. Guess how much we spent for 2 martinis? $50. And listen, I come from Los Angeles where $50 for 2 drinks is not that wild. But in Charleston, what? $50. And it wasn't even that big of a martini. I was real surprised by that. Real surprised. We had great food. So many restaurants. We went to the most amazing, beautiful beaches. We went on walks. We saw all the gorgeous landmarks. We saw all the history. We went to the museum, the Charleston Museum. We saw amazing things. I mean, really, honestly, the architecture, the homes, Charleston, that whole area, South Carolina, it was a dream of mine to go. I had always wanted to go, and I just want to live in that region at some point. That's the dream, right? At one point to have a house there, have a house there, have a house there. Da, da, da. So right now it's Los Angeles. I would be in Chicago, Charleston. I'll throw in a Hawaii. I'm just thinking America, you know? It was great. Very humid though. Very humid. But my hair did great. You know, in case anyone's wondering. My hair, phenomenal. Phenomenal. So the boys, thank you, Jackie, for asking. The boys had a great time. Oliver, the younger one, loved the beaches. He just wanted to live at the beach every day, beach volleyball for days. Lance loved it because he obviously loved the weather, the food, the drinks, the beach, everything. And my older son loved it because he loved the history of it. He's a history buff. So he was really into all the history everywhere we went. It was a perfect trip for all of us. It was great. Okay. I say we start by getting into the Karen Reed of it all, just because there's so much happening with that it's just a crazy story. But the reason why I also wanted to come to you on the weekend is because I only had 3 shows this week. And when I do normally have 5 shows. And so when I don't have 5 shows, I don't have 5 chances to really get to hang out with you and get to talk to you about everything. So I want to make sure, because I only had 3 shows, to really give you guys a chance to remember to buy your tickets for Dosers Live. We are now officially 2 months 2 months away from Dosers Live, and every single week, more people are buying their tickets, so make sure to buy your tickets. We are officially, we have our planning call this week coming up with the girls that are helping me plan. We officially have food down, DJ down, and drinks down. So that is all in the planning. I am super excited. I have my opener coming out. I'm going to have her announce a little bit later. And then Zach and I are definitely going to be part of the show. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a great time. If you want to get together with dosers here in Los Angeles, go to dailydosepod.com/dosers live to buy your tickets. It'll be great. And also, I want to remind you guys to check out our sponsors of the week. All the links are below. We have Graza olive oil. You can get all of your amazing olive oils, especially the trio. The drizzle, the frizzle, and the sizzle are the best. You can cook with them. Use code DAILY. Actually, I want to make sure before I say my codes. Graza is code Dana, DANA. And then, of course, we have Ollie, which is the dog food I've talked to you guys about. Use code DAILYDOSE, DAILYDOSE. And then Alloy has been an amazing sponsor also. That's all your perimenopause, estrogen, all that stuff so that you can keep feeling young and feel great about your body and also get good sleep and keep your sex drive. I don't mean to, start Saturday off that way, but use code Daily Dose. And then my fourth sponsor is Dupe, and that is the website that you have to use, dupe.com. So thank you to all my sponsors, definitely. Okay, cool. So let's get into all the stories. Karen Reed, people have been going off. I guess they've just been on like gag orders or something, and now they're just talking. And I don't even know where to start. I guess we can go in order with the jurors, the McAlberts, and then the lawyers. It's been unreal. Christina, I am so excited that you're coming. She says, I can't wait for Dosers Live. Okay. So the truth is, the first juror that spoke was the day after the verdict. And it was this one guy, and he spoke to TMZ. And I don't know if it was necessarily the questions that they had asked him exactly, but it wasn't necessarily the best questions or the best interview that I had heard. I was like, okay, he thought Karen was factually innocent. And I was like, well, that's really kind of interesting. He was like, straight up, I think she's innocent. Now, the next juror has been a very, very interesting person that we've heard from because she's the Brazilian woman. Her name is Paula, and she has been everywhere. In case you guys haven't heard from her, I'm not going to make you guys listen to her because in case you guys, have not heard from her at all, she has literally been speaking everywhere. But I'll show you a little bit of an interview that she did before she started her big media tour. She was on the Today Show. She was here. Good Morning America, NBC, everywhere. But she's a lawyer from Brazil, which is interesting. A lot of people are like, this feels weird. How could she be a lawyer? Well, actually, Bob Alessi said, which I'll get to in just a little bit, Robert Alessi, he said yesterday that a lot of people are not against lawyers on their jury, which I think is very, very interesting. She is a lawyer in Brazil who's very into true crime, but she says, I'm only into true crime in Brazil. I'm not into true crime in in America. So I didn't really know anything about Karen Reed. I thought Turtle Boy, she says, I thought Turtle Boy was an environmental story, which I thought was kind of funny. This is a little bit about what she said to an interview the first day that she spoke before she got into it. And I really like her.
Did you come forward to actually share your experience about being a juror in this high-profile case?
I actually want to give a message to the family, make them understand that, or at least hear us out saying it's not our fault that Karen Reed was innocent. I mean, the Commonwealth and the investigation couldn't actually prove and show evidence enough to make us convict her of anything. So I want to come out to let them know that we feel for them. Like, I personally feel for them a lot. I'm a mother, and it broke my heart to see the family leaving the courthouse on that day. But wasn't her fault, and I hope they find who did it.
Let's talk about the verdict and how you guys came to this conclusion.
At first, most of us were on the same page pretty much. We were shocked with so many holes the case presented to us, but there was some people who had questions, and we were there those 4 days to answer those questions.
What's interesting about her and about what I've heard from so many people is it's so crazy that what she says in this, which is really interesting, is that she says, I feel bad for Karen, for the John O'Keefe family. I feel bad for them because the Commonwealth failed them. Not Karen failed them, not Judge Bev failed them or we failed them or anything. The Commonwealth failed them because the investigation and the Kansas Police Department did a sloppy job. They didn't do a good investigation, and no one could prove in this case at all that Karen Reed killed him. And what's so interesting is that there is absolutely no proof whatsoever that this entire court case could show us that Karen Reed was placed at the scene of the crime. And even so, even though she's telling us this, people will still say, but she killed him. And what's so interesting is that, this is going to be like flat earthers. And I keep saying flat earthers, but I guess this is like a Team Justin, Team Blake situation, I guess. If you're convinced that, Blake is right in the Justin Blake situation, doesn't matter what happens, you will always be sure that Blake Lively is in the right. I think there's some people that will, or I guess you can like equate this to like a very strong political take or a very strong sports fan, that you will stick with your side no matter what. You'll go down with that ship. And so these people that are anti-free Karen Reed, they will go down with the ship. This person is like, I'm sorry, she didn't hit him. Now, she has said in other instances, she has also said that, the blue paint investigation, like that didn't show us anything. But they also have said that Hank Brennan, they thought he was fine until later when they found him to be rude. They found him to be strange to witnesses when he would say, over here, then he would come off a little bit odd and rude. She said, I feel bad because I paused on Paula's face looking like this, but she says in one moment here, she says that she didn't think Karen Reed was innocent at the beginning of the trial. She actually looked at Karen and she was like, oh, she seems a little arrogant and she seems a little cold, which her confidence makes her feel kind of guilty. Raise your hand if you agree. I did. My husband did. How many of us thought Karen Reed was so unlikable at the beginning that we were all like, oh, she does not seem so innocent. And that's kind of how it went, I'm just going to pull up some random other spots.
It's split on, and how many of you guys were split on?
Hold on.
From Brazil, my life, because I didn't know there was that amount of people outside. And then, I don't know, I just hope they find justice.
Here we go.
I heard just people outside, and that's when I started crying, because that people outside made the family of John O'Keefe feel very sad, just hearing that. So that moment broke my heart. And then, I don't know, I just hope they find justice.
Is there anything that you would say to the O'Keefes if you saw them?
Yes, please keep fighting. We really don't think it was Karen Reed. The investigation was floppy. Believe that. Look at yourself, and keep fighting to find who did this to him, because he seemed to be a very nice guy. His niece testified, friends testify, and we had no doubt that was unnecessary death. But it wasn't Karen Reed, then let's find who did it.
Do you think?
She has said in different interviews, it wasn't Karen Reed. Let's find who did it. It happened in the house. Someone in the house did it, she said. She knows it. The entire jury knows it. Who the hell did it? Right? Who did it? Very, very interesting from Paula. Now, last night, I'm going to stay on the jurors for a second because if you guys don't remember, or if you guys remember, a few of the court reporters and the people in the jury room would talk about the foreman, not the jury room, in the court. They would talk about the foreman, and they were concerned about who Bev would talk about as the foreman. They would say, oh gosh, Bev chose juror number 1 as the foreman, and I'm really concerned about this guy. I don't think he likes Karen Reed. They would talk about the fact that he never once took a note the entire time. And they mentioned that he was a black man and the reason I'm bringing this up is relevant. You'll see. And he never once took a note. And for some reason, people just assumed that he didn't like Karen Reed. And that's why Bev chose the person, right? Him as the it says, did the audio go out? Did the audio go out? Someone's asking if the audio went out. Just make sure. Let me know in the comments. Someone is saying, that is why Bev chose that foreman because somehow he doesn't like Karen Reed. He's an anti-Karen Reed. And I got so nervous that this guy was going to throw the jury in some way. Well, the foreman, who I was convinced did not like Karen Reed, spoke out last night. And this is so important because he speaks out and this is what happens. Hold on. I need to get the I'm going to go to the website, but I have to put it in a certain link so I can pull it up for you guys. Okay. Here we go. In this article, it says Karen Reed jury foreman breaks silence. This is from the Boston Herald last night. He breaks silence, and this is why this is so important. Thank you, Christina. She says, hit the like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. This is what he says. He says, juror number 1, the foreman in the Karen Reed retrial told the Herald there was no aha moment in the grueling case that he said wasted the taxpayers' money on paper-thin evidence that failed to bring any comfort. The unforgivable fact that investigators didn't swarm the house at the murder scene on 34 Fairview Road in Canton during a nor'easter in January was shoddy work and a blatant red flag, the foreman added. That's why the only guilty finding against Reed was drunken driving. And listen to what this guy says. And this is so important for why I just said the fact that he's black, because this is what it says. If that body was on my front steps, it says, he says, I know my house would have been stormed. The juror, who was black and grew up in Boston's Jamaica Plains, said. The text from Trooper Proctor, bitch and expletive, also showed a serious bias, yet I had to put my personal opinion aside. It all seemed like a lot of wishy-washy privilege, the foreman said. We had to look at the evidence, and a lot of it did not make sense. There was no meat, no aha moment. No one proved there was a collision, even with all that jargon, and all the jurors agreed. Isn't that so interesting? I thought that was so telling. He said, if someone ended up dead on my front lawn as a black man, you bet my house would be raided in 2 seconds. The fact that their house was not raided because they're white cops is so telling and so shocking and so guilty immediately. I was like, Jesus, that is crazy. That is like, he didn't have to take notes. He was like, done. That's enough of proof right there. I don't even need to know anymore. Isn't that wild? Oh my God. It couldn't have been better for Karen Reed right there. He said, and this is also kind of a crazier story too. This is like a separate note. It says the juror who asked that his name not be revealed spoke with the Herald by telephone late Friday afternoon along with his wife. The couple has 3 children and they have one come painfully close to tragedy before. The juror said he knew both, and I'm gonna totally mess up this name. He knew both Dzhokhar Sarnev, who along with his terrorist brother Tamerlan, who detonated the 2 bombs at the finish line of the Boston Marathon, and and bombing victim 8-year-old Martin Richard. The terror attack and ensuing crime wave claimed 4 lives and maimed and injured more than 264. The juror revealed that his wife was working at MIT the night campus cop Sean Collier was executed by the Sarnevs, who would soon engage in a deadly firefight with police in nearby Watertown that ultimately ended in Tamerlan's death and Dzhokhar's capture. His wife took a train home, avoiding any trouble. The juror said he works with at-risk youth in Dorchester and met both Dzhokhar and young Martin while working at a charter school in the city. We said, of course, I was then picked for the Karen Reed jury, the couple added together over the phone, sharing in the irony. They knew the Boston bombers. Isn't that a crazy, isn't that a wild coincidence? Like, these guys, this family is like so in with these high profile cases. Now, he also opened up about the fact why the jury, remember how the juror verdict went and then came back and then went again when we were all waiting for the verdict, how Bev had said, I know, we have a verdict, but then we don't have a verdict, but then we do. He explains exactly what happened. He said the foreman added that the jury's announcement of a verdict on Wednesday that was suddenly pulled back was over one male juror who got the jitters. At lunch, I asked the juror, "Are you okay?" And he says, "Do you think I can take back my vote?" What? He says, the foreman added, other jurors got a little nervous, but 20 minutes later, he said, okay, guilty of OUI. Like, what do you think his vote was going to change to? Isn't that crazy? You voted and then all of a sudden you got nervous. Do you think I can change it? What would it have changed you? And if you changed it, wouldn't it have completely been a hung jury? Because it has to be completely unanimous. If you change your vote, then they have to go back into deliberation. It's not like we can go 11-1 here. And then it said it was the only charge they all agreed on and the only clear evidence without a doubt of any infraction, the foreman added. We only went with what was put in front of us, he said of the panel, 7 women and 5 men. I'm still asking, where is the justice for John? The juror told the Herald all the jurors quickly went their separate ways, but have agreed to meet soon to try and make sense of the often incomprehensible case. Isn't that wild? I just can't get over that story. Anyway, that's crazy. Okay, moving on to the next story of who else is talking. So now we've talked about the jurors. Let's talk about the McAlberts. Oh, talk about triggering. So yesterday morning I was in the airport and I get this news alert that they spoke from they spoke on 2020. And I think it aired yesterday. I don't exactly know when it aired. My time is all messed up. And the truth is, it was only like a 7-minute segment. I watched it and I was so annoyed about it. But what I'm going to show you guys is a body language expert. So this showed up in my YouTube algorithm this morning. I'd never seen this guy, but now I'm going to subscribe to him because I think he has a phenomenal channel. The McAlberts are guilty, allegedly. And the reason why I think this is because who else did it? And when I say the McAlberts, I'm going to throw in the Higgins as well and the dog. Okay. It's one big umbrella. If it's McAlberts, Higgins, Chloe, umbrella. And whoever comes in that too. And the only reason I can say that confidently is because it wasn't Karen. And a man doesn't get beat up and bit up and thrown out into a lawn because, by chance. So I would say that. Now, he was, this group of like, as my friend Bobby Sauce take naps on Instagram, what he calls them as Saga demons. They have been silent this entire trial, except Jen McCabe, of course. We saw all of her craziness. But they've been silent this entire trial. They were not called as witnesses. And then they decide to come and speak to 2020. Now, don't even get me started on the softball interview that 2020 and Nightline gave them. I think is it Nightline 2020? Is it all the same? I'm so confused. Did 2020 and Nightline like do a marriage? Did they marry? I have no idea. But it was such a softball interview, and it was a very annoying softball interview, but we'll let it be. Maybe they had to agree on some of the questions. I also believe half of it was edited out. I would like to see them being interviewed by someone that's really going to ask them some serious questions, because I felt like it was really a very, very softball questions. But what I found was they all look so unlikable. And I don't believe that even if you don't like Karen Reed, I can't imagine that you could watch this whole group of people and think like, wow, I feel so bad for them. How can you see this group? And let me just like pull it up for you really fast. I mean, was it on 2020 or Nightline? I guess they were on Nightline, right? Yeah, they were on Nightline. Got it. They were on Nightline, and then 2020 was the night before with Proctor. That's what it was. Okay. They're so unlikable, these people. They're not sympathetic whatsoever. They don't feel sympathetic or any sort of, you don't feel bad for them in any way, even as they speak and talk about, how sad you should feel for them. You don't. And maybe, I don't know if this is just me, but I don't feel bad for them. I'll show you just a little bit of it, but I want to show you what the body language expert says about them, which I find the most revealing.
The criminal justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
I like that.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Reed trial sitting down for an exclusive interview. His friend, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matt, former Boston police sergeant Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole, and his brother, Chris Albert. All five of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
They were pulled in.
Think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Reed!
It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Reed, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend.
It's atrocious for that family.
While the prosecutors blamed Reed for O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Reed to cover up what really happened that night. Ever since, their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're not real people. We're almost like caricatures.
Caricatures.
We're pawns.
Have each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah, on a daily basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us.
Wait. I'm not a body language expert, but I just noticed this part. Look at Matt McCabe, who's the guy on the left. Wait, if I put my mouse on here, yeah, you can see my mouse. Look at this guy, Matt McCabe, Jen McCabe's husband, okay? Look at what he says when he says that they call us murderers, okay? I want you to look at his face. I guess it's funny.
The murder at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us support cop killers.
After 3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Reed captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get.
I love how it says O'Keefe's family and friends are struggling with the verdict. I'm sorry, sir. This is not O'Keefe's family and friends. Nicole Albert was not O'Keefe's family and friends. I don't believe that John O'Keefe had ever been to Nicole Albert's house, right? Weren't they lost? Didn't they struggle even finding the house? They didn't know how to get to 34 Fairview Road. Why are they calling Nicole Albert John O'Keefe's family and friends?
Get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
After another
high
hanging
road.
out at a local
My ass, the high road. The high road was the group text, remember? Tell them the guy never came into the house. That was them saying it.
House.
Never. No,
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
never.
These are people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people. You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians,
No,
the medical examiner,
no.
firemen,
EMTs.
EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this is. And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
Brian Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just
Upset.
upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
I'm going to show you the body language expert, and he's going to cover a couple of these in a second. But really quickly, what she's forgetting to talk about the fact is the 5:07 a.m. phone call that Alan Jackson uncovered, or that the defense just uncovered, which shows that the phone rang between Jen McCabe to the sister at 5:07 a.m. and it was answered for 38 seconds. There was a 38-second phone call between Jen McCabe and the sister, an hour and a half before this supposed wake up, sister, wake up. What happened between those 38 seconds? All of a sudden, now she's like, wait, what are you doing in my room? What happened for 38 seconds? Because that's weird. That's weird.
Tell you.
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, who? I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
Why would John be out front of my house? Well, let's see. Because you had a party last night where you invited John over your house. What? Rewind the tape, sir. Let's go back to the waterfall. I wish I was microdots right now. Microdots, and the entire case is all of them at the party, at the bar, hugging, shooting the shit, punching each other. Hey, John, come on to our house. Hey, Jen McCabe, she's right next to you, Brian. Hey, John, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Coming over. Come over. Come over. Come over. Come over. Where are you? Coming? Where are you? Coming? Coming? And then Higgins saying, come over. Come over. Where are you? Where are you? All of a sudden, where's John? Why is John here? This is so weird. Not why is he dead? I'm sorry to laugh. I'm so Jen McCabe coded right now. I'm sorry to laugh, but it's preposterous. Because if I get woken up out of a dead sleep and someone says, a random friend of mine that I like see every once in a while, or maybe I randomly saw them at a bar the night before, but I didn't tell them to come over to my house or anything. But they said they were dead outside of my house. My first thought wouldn't be like, why are they here? I would be like, they're dead? Right? Would you? You wouldn't be like, but I didn't tell them to come over. Did I send an Evite last night? What the fuck?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer.
Hold on. I just fell to the ground. I'm sorry, what? You said what? You just said what? Next time you go on a plane and there's a medical emergency and they say, excuse me, is there a doctor in the house on the plane? And someone says, I'm a cardiologist. And they say, we have a medical emergency. Someone is, there is a brain something. And they say, sorry, I'm just a heart surgeon. What in the world? I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer. I'm going to stay in bed. Look at his face, by the way. If this isn't a face of a murderer, I'm sorry, what is? I used to work in casting, okay? Let me tell you something. I used to work in Lisa says we need an EMT resuscitate Donna. Make sure it's a local EMT and not a Boston EMT because it has to be someone from my jurisdiction. Because if you bring an EMT here who's not from my local, they can't come in, I guess. I mean, have you ever heard anything so stupid? Also, by the way, let me just tell you something. As someone that used to work in casting, we used to always have these under 5 roles. They're called co-stars, right? Where it would always be like the waiter, the judge, the cop, the bodyguard, the construction worker, the murderer. Let me tell you something. If this guy's headshot came in my pile, I'd book him. I would hire him. Sight unseen. Like offer only. Have you ever seen a more nefarious face in your life? He plays the evil guy. He doesn't even have to try. He has a face of evil. Don't even play around. He is an evil man. You can feel it. You can smell it.
I was just woken up out of a cold sleep. From hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house.
I thought the police didn't go into their house.
John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop.
I would have taken a bullet for him, he says. He says.
That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant?
Over the course.
You don't have to put yellow tape, but maybe be like, what the fuck happened on my front lawn? Who killed my friend? Right? I mean, I'm sorry. My husband is like a protector. He would be running out there. Who killed him? Putting tape. What is he worried? He's not a crime scene like expert. He would just run out and be concerned.
Course of the night, Reed called and texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Are they anti Karen Reed here? It feels like anti Karen Reed.
You were angry with John that night.
Yes.
Could you have been
angry enough.
Okay, I'm going to move on here and I'm going to show you guys the body language expert because this is actually really interesting. There's a couple parts that are so interesting. So the guy his name is, I just found him randomly today. His name is the body language guy. He is on YouTube. Let me make it a little bigger so you guys can see it. The body language guy, he has 800,000 subscribers. So clearly he's a very popular guy. And his show on this, he just released it yesterday. So it's an entire analysis of this interview. It's really fascinating what he talks about. And there's a lot of moments of it, but I'm going to go into just a couple seconds here that I find really good.
Front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
And this is one of the clips, the clip that you're about to see, one of the clips that we saw at the start of this video, which is hands down one of the most important clips of the whole analysis.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
Never. Never.
Do you notice what happened? Notice that first,
House.
Brian denies and says never.
Never. No.
Says never, no. He, throughout the whole interview, he is quite confident in himself. He speaks for long bouts of time, long streaks of time, and he looks at the interviewer in the eye. But right now, when it's important to, to say that John was never in the house, he brings his head back, which is quite defensive.
Never.
He says never.
No.
He doubles down with the never, no, and then looks down. That was odd. That was really odd. And when the interviewer, I don't know the name of the interviewer.
You never saw John O'Keefe
Sorry
in the
about
house,
that.
right?
Never.
But notice how the brother looks at Brian. The question is very simple. Did any of you, let me review the question. It's important to review the exact question made. Did any of you?
No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right? He is asking everyone. You never saw John O'Keefe in the house. If you're are sure of what you are answering, why did Brian and Chris look at each other? All right. And why did Jennifer McKay also look at Brian? It's like they waiting for Brian to lead the answer, even if it should be their own experience. No, I never saw John in that, but it's like they are waiting for Brian's approval or signal or something. It is true that we can sometimes answer as a group. They are trying to present this united front, but there are way too many instances, and it's like they are asking for Brian's permission to answer. We are already 3 into this.
The entire interview, what he keeps pointing out is how many times everyone keeps looking at Brian McCabe. Brian McCabe is the ringleader here. I kind of thought Jen McCabe was, but I think Brian McCabe is the ringleader, and I think they're petrified of Brian. And now you can kind of feel it. Brian McCabe is kind of like, he's the guy that everyone keeps kind of going to. And you know what's interesting also? He mouths a lot of words. Oh, sorry. Do I say McCabe? Brian Albert. So sorry. Brian Albert, he mouths a lot of words for the other people, which is really interesting. I can't remember the right word for that. What the actual wording is for that. He does the wording for it, right? It's he like mimes the words. And so when his wife is answering, he'll say it in his mind, but he uses his mouth. And it's so strange. It's like they've scripted, spoken about this. He knows exactly what to say. He wants her to say it. They mimic. That's a great word. Thank you so much, Jen.
Twice twice.
Upset, and
Watch.
I immediately
She checks on Brian to answer. Why would she have to check on Brian again? And notice how Brian looks
that
at
face.
her.
Oh my God, he's so scary. Like
I
Jerry,
could
the
say
Golden
that maybe this
Bachelor.
is his body language baseline. This is the way that Brian looks at people regularly. But if my wife was having this recollection of this horrific incident, my facial expression might be a bit more empathetic to them, to her. And this case, no, it's like it's a bit ominous.
immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom? It's 6:30 in the morning right now.
Yeah, but for some reason they had a
There you go.
38-second phone call at 5:07 in that same morning. Jennifer McCabe claims that she did not remember placing the call. She doesn't remember talking to her sister. She has no recollection of that call. There's no way to know what happened in those 38 seconds, but there was a phone call. So, which makes the surprise. Oh, it was so odd seeing you at 6:30 in the morning barging into the
My
room.
bedroom. It's 6:30 in the morning.
Look at his mouth.
And notice how Brian is a bit
My bedroom.
nervous.
It's 6:30.
It's like vocalizing. He's vocalizing as Nicole is
My
speaking.
bedroom. It's 6:30
You guys,
He's
what the
vocalizing
hell?
something.
in the morning.
And I agree. And yeah, that's what happened. I'm telling you, I'm seeing so much strange body language in here. It would be much nicer if one can sit down and have a nice conversation with them, like a couple hours to, let's say, ask them about all the details would be much better. But this was really quick, too quick, I would
No.
say.
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front.
And notice that when he says, what did he tell you? What she tell you? Nicole is really nervous. She's pressing her lips. She's pressing her lips, looking at Brian, of course, who is the one speaking. And she's fiddling with her fingers. It's a bit of a pacifying gesture, but Brian is the one who.
It goes on. And it's a really fascinating take on this entire interview. I mean, you don't even need to be a body language expert to read through these. It's very Blake Lively coded, to be honest. I feel like you can kind of just tell with some of these people that some of them are incredibly inauthentic in their conversations. Proctor is another one. I don't even want to go through Proctor, but Proctor is a big old bag of lies and like crocodile tears. Oh, my life is shut up with you and your stupid wife. I'm sorry. Okay. Do I feel bad that your family has gotten death threats and that your kids are good? Yes. But I also feel really, really bad, lady, that you're standing by your man who's an ass and that did that and ruined. Actually, Proctor is the number one point. He's like yes, it started with Brian Albert and then all of them, and then it circled. But Proctor, he could have put a stop to this, and he totally took this on himself as his job. And he created this mess. He created this entire mess. So it's completely all the same. I don't feel bad for Proctor. I feel bad for his wife that she married such a piece of shit, just like I feel bad for Brittany that she married Jax, but she also willingly stayed with Jax during all of this. It's such a mess. I see a couple super chats. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to get to both of yours. Thank you, Miss July. Miss July says Alessi, and I'm going to get to the Alessi interview from last night, but I really want to get the timestamp where he said this because I need to find it. And everyone's sending this to me, and I want to find the exact timestamp. Is there any way you can find that for me? So Alessi, that was my next part of this. Alessi and Yanetti, Bob Alessi and David Yanetti, who are, guys, don't be mad at me, but they've quickly moved up to my favorite two attorneys on the defense team. I think they've overtaken Alan Jackson. Sorry. Alan Jackson scared me a little bit after a couple of things I've seen. Justin Ches, is he powerful? Yes. Do I want to see him cross-examined from here on for the rest of my life? Yes. Oh my God. Oh, he's sexy. Can he cook? Yes. But like Alessi and Yanetti? Oh My God, those two. Alessi said, so they were on Runkle of the Bailey last night. This is Ian Runkle. He's an attorney. I didn't even know that they knew each other, but clearly they have a good friendship, and they decided to give Ian Runkle their first live interview. What a get. I don't watch Ian Runkle regularly because, you know, who has time to watch everything every day? So that's why I'm so grateful for those of you guys that are here with me. Oh my God. This is a moment of gratitude for everyone that is here with Daily Dose of Donna. Thank you for being here. Subscribe and give the show a like. I appreciate you. But Bob Alessi and David Yanetti were on Ian Runkle's show last night. And long interview, phenomenal interview, so much to talk about. But Bob Alessi said the most frustrating thing to him was the court not allowing proof that John O'Keefe did not die on the lawn, that Judge Bev did not allow the proof that he was moved to the lawn. And I was like, wait, what? I kept hearing about this. Someone needs to give me the time stamps of that. I know someone said that. Someone said that on stories somewhere, or like somewhere, maybe Reddit. I don't remember where someone posted about it. I need to see that exact moment because I want to pull it up. It is so interesting. What I found out so much, we're going to move on to the attorneys that have spoken out. Oh my God, I've learned so much. First, Alan Jackson. He spoke out to the Howie Carradine show. Howie Carradine is a local Boston news reporter. Like a radio show guy. He spoke, I think, the day after, or maybe Friday. Maybe yesterday he called in, or Thursday, I don't even know. And he was fiery. He just kind of went off. He said that Judge Bev, his hands were tied on Judge Bev's show. I mean, in Judge Bev's courtroom. He said he could not, did I say Howie Carr? Did I say Carradine? I don't even know. He said his hands were tied. He could not speak. He could not do anything. He kept getting objected to everything, and everything was sustained. Everything was sustained. We had to watch it. We had to see it. Like, it was so annoying to watch. Obviously, Alan Jackson felt the entire thing. Like, it was obvious that we had to watch. We know that, you know, but it must have been so frustrating for the attorneys. But Alan Jackson was just talking about how Karen's doing and how great that was. He was talking about how frustrating the case was and how hard it was to, you know, present the case for her in that. Then yesterday, they had an incredible, oh, this is such a sweet comment from Kenny, by the way. Love you, Donna. You were one of my first YouTubers I started religiously watching. Thank you for still being here, Kenny. That is so awesome. Thank you for being here. Okay, then last night, I couldn't believe what a treat this was. Runkle of the Bailey had Yanetti and Alessi. And if I could just I don't even know how I could even show you guys my favorite moments because it was so incredibly amazing and it's long. Like, it was I think it was a 2-hour interview, the entire thing. So I'm just going to have to pull up random little parts of it. Unless you guys can find me that specific timestamp, I'll find that. Also, you guys want to look at the photos from the garage, and I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. But don't you worry. Hold on. I'll get to a couple of the super chats in just a second. But I want to show you guys a little bit of this incredible interview between Bob Alessi and David Yanetti and some of the things I learned from them that I thought was beautiful. I mean, I would pay so much money just to hang out with them for an hour and learn so much. Like, if Bob Alessi wrote a book, I would buy it. If David Yanetti taught a class, like, I want to learn from them. I think they're good human beings.
Trust any of the rest of sort of what they do. I guess that leads into a question I had, which was Brennan's case towards the end of his case.
Let me go a little earlier.
You know, I have to give a lot of credit for the way the team functioned to Karen Reed. You know, Karen, Karen put this team together as well. And she was not the type of person. I'm not going to reveal anything that she said to us, nor can I. And I know you understand that. But just in general, I don't think she'd have an objection if I flatter her. So just in general, I mean, she rolled up her sleeves and, she got really up to speed on, trial strategy, and she knew the police reports and the discovery material better than the lawyers on the team. And nobody wanted to disappoint her. And I can speak for myself. I know Alan and Liza and Bob, I think, felt the same way. We all wanted the result. We wanted to be on those courthouse steps elated. And we knew what we were up against and how difficult a job that was. And I think all of us knew that whosever idea it is, if it's the best idea, it's got to carry the day. And there was nobody on this team who was not open to constructive criticism.
The most interesting thing I learned, well, here's what I'm going to tell you. Number one, are you shocked that Bob Alessi is 67 years old? Sorry to take it out of law speak. 67? This man is 67 years old. And David Yanetti is 62. And they said that they found best friends at 67 and 62 years old. They would work out every day together at Equinox. They would lift weights together. They would go out to dinner every once in a while. They said Bob Alessi said he would laugh so hard that he'd have to get up from the table sometimes because his stomach abs would spasm. He said that they had the best sense of humor. They would laugh so hard. Bob Alessi sleeps 2 hours a day because he loves to learn so much. He also went to school for pharmacy. He's an incredibly he wants to learn. That's all he wants to do. He wants to learn all the time. He's constantly learning. He said that he was very interested in what the law tubers were speaking of. He watched as Ian from Runkle of the Bailey. He mentioned he watched the lawyer, Peter Tragos. He watched a bunch of different people. Andrea Burkhart, he mentioned some other lawyers. It was so incredible. They talked about the financial, compromises they had to take. Something else that they also said was that they're all really used to being the top dogs at their own law firms. Like, David Yanetti is the top Boston defender. Like, he's number one, right? And David Yanetti, I'm getting them all mixed up. Bob Alessi is also a top number one at his law firm. And so is Alan Jackson. And then they had to join forces and kind of all not be number one. They all had to be co-lawyers. And that was really interesting for them. They all got interns, and they said they couldn't have done it without their interns. They said that they worked so hard, but they worked so well together. He had an entire moment talking about his wife. He said that his wife, Ellen, was the most amazing woman. He said she makes him lunch every day. So she must travel with him. I don't know where he's from, actually. I have no idea where she lives. She makes him lunch every single day. And he said now that the case is over, he's going to really focus in on her. I'm sorry. What? He's amazing. He has a daughter that she was on a podcast yesterday, I guess, and talked about him. I want him to have a podcast. I want him to have a book. I want to travel with him. I want to hang out with him. He's so smart. He's from New York. He said something so interesting. He was like, on the day of the verdict, he predicted the verdict time. On Friday, he said, I'm not going to be worried because Yanetti was like, I want them to have a verdict by Tuesday. And Alessi said, I'm not going to be worried unless they have a verdict unless they don't have the verdict by Wednesday afternoon. In fact, I'm going to predict a verdict by Wednesday at 3 p.m. They had a verdict at Wednesday at 3 p.m. He's a genius. I'm obsessed with him. He's so freaking amazing and smart and protective over his client. He said when they were reading the verdict, he didn't even think about like the joy of whether or not it was guilty or not guilty. He was just concerned over if she was reading it correctly and if they were saying it perfectly, because he was just so worried about like the logistics of exactly if it was read perfectly and if they didn't mess it up. He wasn't worried about like the emotional side of it yet. He just wanted to make sure that it was done properly. Like he's so I just love him. But I was wondering, do you think that Alessi and Jackson like each other in real life? I'm curious about it. I know they all said that they really like each other, but I'm very curious if you think that they like each other in real life. I'm very curious. It was a really, really telling interview, but I found the clip. Someone posted it and I got it. I found it and I texted it to myself. So let me pull up my text messages here and hopefully it comes up really fast. Of course, it's going to take a second. Hold on. Give it a second. Come on. Come on. Let me save it to my notes and then it should come up. I found the clip that I wanted to show you guys. Here we go. This should be the clip of when they were talking about moving the body. All done. Where is it playing? It's playing, but I don't hear it. I mean, but I don't see it. Hold on. Tech issues. Always a tech issue. Here we go. Why does it keep blacking out? Okay, stop sharing. Hold on. Do we have issues? Why is this happening? Wait. It's literally not letting me see the clip. Hold on. That's killing me. It's not letting me see it. Okay, well, I'm not going to mess around with that. I can't find it. It's Blake's fault. It's always Blake's fault. Okay. So if I find it later, I'll make sure. So yes, it was the body. It was Alessi. He said that the body had evidence it was moved. I wish I could have the entire transcript. Here.
Your constitutional right to a theory.
Here, I'll play it for you guys here.
And was not killed at where he was located. So, which I think, Ian, is one of your points. I'll tell you quickly my piece of evidence that's on the top of my list is the alternative theory as to what happened, namely that Mr. O'Keefe was not injured and was not killed at where he was located. That was someplace else, and we had solid medical and other evidence, and we were not allowed to proffer even the evidence, let alone push the theory. And, you know, isn't that a fundamental Sixth Amendment right, your constitutional right to a defense? Inherent in your constitutional right to a defense is the ability to put forth an alternative theory to that of the prosecution. And we had tremendous evidence back.
All right. So it's an interesting thing. I think I could probably show it to you guys if you're still interested. Let me see if I can pull it up this way. Trying my hardest, you guys, as a producer of my own show. Let's see if this works.
Evidence.
There we go. I got it.
And we were not allowed to proffer even the evidence, let alone push the theory. And, you know, isn't that a fundamental
Gonna make it faster.
Sixth Amendment right, your constitutional right to a defense? Inherent in your constitutional right to a defense is the ability to put forth an alternative theory to that of the prosecution. And we had tremendous evidence backed by facts, backed by experts, and we were not allowed to go there. I wasn't even allowed to go there in my cross-examination of Dr. Scordi Bello, the medical examiner, who couldn't determine the manner of death. So why then wasn't it a minimum that I could pursue those questions, and I was not allowed to do so? That, I think, was an unfortunate situation, but that stuck out for me.
One of the moments that stuck out for me in hindsight, I guess, is that, and the chat will not forgive me if I don't ask this, the photos that Turtle Boy has tweeted out
There
of
we
the
go.
garage. And I sort of can rewind directly to where that would have been. The question of, so, you know, I want to ask, you know, is this going, you know, is this consistent with the, you know, the mark on the head? Was that sort of part of where you wanted to go with that, with, you know, the photos there?
Unfortunately, that's another area that Ian Runkle ends up asking a tremendously good question, but we can only compliment the question and not begin an answer.
And for the people in the chat, lawyers are
Here is the photos. Here are the photos that they're referring to here. So Turtle Boy tweeted these photos the day after the juror, or was it the day of? Was it the night of? I think it was the night of the verdict. And he said, this is inside the garage of 34 Fairview Road. This aligns with the patterns on John O'Keefe's head laceration, which is shocking. That's Alan Jackson in the photos. We can tell by his muscles. What's so weird about this is because everyone kind of assumed this entire time that this was his head lacerations was the weights. Remember the round weights, the plates, the weight plates? But this totally took it to a new level because everyone all of a sudden was like, wait, what? This is in the garage. We had never seen the garage. I had never seen the garage. Did you? I had never seen the garage, and it wasn't blood, right? I'm pretty sure this was paint, correct? I don't know a lot of information. All I know is they couldn't really talk about it. The comments are saying there's paint to cover up blood. But people are basically saying that it's very possible that he never actually went into the house. He used the side door that went into the garage, which was maybe a mistake since he had never been into the house. He was drunk, you know, it was dark. He walked into the wrong door, maybe. All of a sudden, he comes into the garage. Who knows what happens? Maybe the dog's there. Maybe he trips. Maybe he falls. Maybe he gets da-da-da-da. God knows what happens. He hurts himself. He falls. He hits his head. The cover-up starts, right? We don't know. We have no idea. And that's where it all kind of starts. And, you know, even Kate in this comment section says, Aiden, here's the timestamp where La Posada talks about the garage. AJ asked her, did you also see photographs of any significance to you related to the garage, the interior of the garage? And she says, yes. And then the objection sustained. Remember how fast they were to just immediately shut up about the garage? Don't talk about the garage. Don't talk about the garage. Remember how weird? How weird. Can't talk about the garage. But isn't that interesting? Well, I guess then why wouldn't you be able to say he'd never walked into the house? Then it makes so much sense for people to say, I never saw him walk into the house. He didn't walk into the house. He never came into the house. I didn't see him in the house. Well, it's possible he never came into the house because from here, he could have gone straight into the basement. Now, I have no idea. Is there a door that goes from the garage into the basement? I don't remember. It's possible. And then Joe, of course, welcome to Daily Dose of Donna, says, or he stumbled upon an ongoing orgy. Let's hope it didn't happen in the garage with their kids in the house partying. Okay, Joe? Okay. Anyway, what a crazy story, you guys. What a crazy saga. It's not over, just like it ends with us. It's never over. It's never over. But we've been talking about it for an hour and 15 minutes. So we got to move on to the Scott and Kelly Wolf saga because I've got to get out of here pretty soon. Okay, you guys, the Scott and Kelly Wolf saga is coup. And I do have to kind of move on and talk about this because we can always come back tomorrow and have even another Sunday Daily Dose if more stuff comes on about Karen Reed. I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. All right. This Scott and Kelly Wolf story is crazy, you guys. And it's so sad. It is so sad. But we also, are interested and we're human beings and they're celebrities. So I'm going to talk about it in a way to not try to, I'm not trying to get into I don't want to traumatize anyone anymore, but obviously people are really, really, really clearly invested because people are very shocked over what is happening. And mental health is a really, really real thing. It's a real thing. Okay. We watched Sherry Papini. We know what's going on. We see Blake Lively. Mental health is a real thing. So basically, here's the story. Scott and Kelly Wolf have been married for, I think, 21 years is the entire story. They've been married. Scott and Kelly Wolf marriage. I mean, my entire, since I can remember, 2004, 21 years. And the reason why it's such a big deal for someone in my age range, I'm 43, 44, just turned 44, is because we grew up with them, right? Party of Five, Real World New Orleans, Come On Be My Baby Tonight. Come on, be my baby tonight. Come on, you guys know you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Come on, be my baby tonight. Scott and Kelly Wolf were married in 2002. They got married in 2004. They have 3 children together. And they had this I don't know, it seemed like a very, very adorable, sweet marriage. And just remember, I mean, in case you have no idea, who they are, I'll show you a little picture of them, but I would imagine that you guys kind of have an idea of who they are. Gorgeous, gorgeous couple. And every single person that I know who knows them in real life has always said that they are truly the happiest couple, the happiest, sweetest, most lovely, kindest, genuine, real, amazing couple. And I'm not saying you know what they say about those couples, because you know what they say about those couples. But I'm saying that I do believe that they really do have a good marriage, or they did have a good marriage for many, 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 many years. But you know what happens sometimes? Sometimes over time, people change, things happen, and change happens. Now, Scott Wolf has maintained a very, very successful, fairly successful life. He works, right? You may not know about a lot of his career, but he works. And she has maintained somewhat of a career, but not a very well-known career. She's a life coach. She's on Instagram, she does her thing, right? She's just she posts about introspective things. She's a mama. She's got her 3 kids. And it's interesting. She's just kind of she's more of a homebody. They live in Utah, and he's out here in California all the time, or traveling and working, whatever. But she's best known for Real World. And then when they did a Real World reunion for Real World New Orleans a couple years ago, she came back and it was so nice to see her, and she looked so beautiful and everything was good. And they've been posting normally and everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, I guess if you've been following her pretty well, you've noticed that she's been posting kind of weirdly lately. I don't follow her on Instagram very closely, so I didn't know anything until just a couple weeks ago when all of a sudden they announced their divorce. And people are like, wait, what's going on? This is strange. They're divorcing? Because they were just posting about how much they love each other just a few months ago. right? So she posts her divorce. She posts the divorce. And I'm going to show you her Instagram because this is very important. This is a big part of the story is her Instagram. Let me pull it up really fast. It's a journey. It's a journey, not a destination, you know? It's one of those kinds of things. She had it pinned. So she had said on June 10th, it's with a heavy heart that Scott and I are moving forward with the dissolution of our marriage. It's a very normal, very sweet post. I'm stepping into a chapter of peace, but she wrote, Scott Wolf is one of the best fathers I've ever known and one of the best partners a woman could have the privilege of sharing life with. He is kind, thoughtful, funny, beautiful in spirit. Okay. So she writes a very kind, lovely message about life and about their divorce and about everything. Everything's good. And then she starts posting interesting posts. For example, this was the next day after posting about their divorce. She posts somewhat of a very strange, disheveled video where she's with her daughter. Everything's limited. Comments on the post have been limited. So she doesn't have a lot of posts, but she's with her daughter and her daughter's young. And let me tell you, I saw this and I thought, this is odd. I don't know this woman very well, but this is an odd post.
That did not work. But here we go. First of all, best bag ever. Oops, can't see it. It's pretty darn good. Oh, thanks. Yes, look at this.
Showing her purse that says, shut the fuck up.
Okay, look, you can't be
In
in
her
the video, but
stuff in her car.
this is me and my girl heading into the woods.
Tons of stuff in her car.
Put your hand out there. Hi.
Wait,
Here, we can do this.
can you show them my setup over here?
Yeah, but you can't be it. Okay. You got a goose? Oh, you have like a whole little station. And of course, I bought this nerdy thing. Can't really see it. Look at, wait, hold up my cute hat, Lou. Right there. That one. This one. I got this in Tulum. Isn't that pretty? It's made like these women. What's the brand? Wait, turn it around. We're doing brands today. No, on the inside. Does it have a tag?
This is the day after she announces her divorce.
I have an Instagram. I love you guys. What is it called? Here, put it up by the camera. Oh, hold on. Okay, it's called this. And I'm obsessed. It's so stinking cute. Okay, here. All right, we're gonna drive. And I'm gonna focus. But look at Sheba. Don't we love Sheba?
What?
Nothing? You have nothing to say? No.
Breathing.
Here, I'm gonna go like this. Lucy ducked and dodged. I said it won't let me do this if it's not a minute long.
Wait.
Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you.
Okay.
Love you guys.
So
Okay, we'll go live when we get to Sundance.
she's going to Sundance, but
We
she's
will drive
posting
up
this
to
kind of
Sundance in Sheba. You want to know why I love this car so much?
odd
The first time I fell in love with the car was in.
post, really odd post. Then she posts a picture like this. She says, I'm sobbing. I'm so happy. Remember, this is all day after she gets divorced or she announces her divorce and her daughter is with her. But then this was the weirdest thing, okay? Because she's with her daughter in Sundance, mind you, all the while posting all these manic stories. And I call it manic very confidently because it was like a picture of her and her daughter, a picture of her, a picture of her daughter, and then a picture of like random brands and a picture of this and a picture of that. And then she posts this, and it's still on her Instagram feed. It's still on her Instagram feed, which I find crazy. And watch this.
Don't! Oh my God. This is not happening. Fine, I'll go. I'll go on my own. Please, I'll go on my own.
You got that arm? Yep.
Wow. Wow. This is shameful, gentlemen. Look at this. Look at this woman. This is shameful. Be ashamed. Be ashamed of yourselves.
gentlemen.
You're not going to jail. You're not going to
I know what I'm doing. I've done this. This is my job. Shame on all of you.
You made some comments to your dad and comments to people that are concerning.
You might want to turn this off. It's on. Would you like to turn it off? You want me to turn it off? Okay, fine. My phone was recording.
Good.
I didn't mean to. It was.
You can turn it off if you'd like.
Please turn it off. Please. I think this is shameful, and Scott Wolf has been abusing me, and now you're abusing me more.
We haven't talked to Scott Wolf.
Well, turn it off. Please hand me my phone to my right. Hand it to my hand right now. Thank you.
The opportunity
Don't.
is reasonable.
Oh my God.
Okay. So everyone's like, wait, what's happening? She goes away for a little bit, like 3 days. And then she comes back 2 days ago and she posts herself at a bar with this glove on, with this picture, with a picture in between. And she says, hi. And she says, God bless. And then she posts again that night with a picture, Mama loves you, J.M. Goose. I imagine those are her daughters. She says love only. And again, it's her purse. Again, she posts another with a bottle of wine. Another video, just posting after posting after posting, just kind of like random videos, okay? I'm not going to go through every single one, but if you go through her page, I mean, it's over and over and over and over and over, pictures and pictures and pictures, and videos. Now, her Instagram stories are another story in addition, right? They are constant. They are many. It's a picture of her with her tongue out and a video of Brad Pitt. She's been like posting about how much she loves Brad Pitt every video, talking about Brad Pitt, a lot of Brad Pitt videos. Then some pictures of her kids, but she's not with her kids. Just a lot of interesting videos, pictures, right? Okay. So under normal circumstances, I would say, then she says, can someone explain why everyone is suddenly obsessed with my life? It's honestly so overwhelming and bumming me out. Please, this is 15 hours ago. Please stop calling, stop texting, stop following me. 11 million views. This is insane. I don't watch the news. I don't Google myself, but I am finally catching on to how much is being said about me. And now I'm just mad. Leave me and my friends alone. Sorry, Anthony Carbonaro, for haters. You are magic and deserve to not fight my battles, even though you are going to be the biggest MMA champ of all time. You are magic. And then she tags Billy Bush, and I'll tell you why. Access Hollywood, Mike the Miz, ESPN, Extra TV. Okay. Now, I understand. She also wrote, people are being hurt all over the world. I'm a very boring white lady. Find something to put your energy into that could actually help people. That is my creed as a human and a mother. Okay. So obviously she's asking to be left alone and I'm not leaving her alone in this moment. So the reason why I'm talking about it is not because I'm going against her wishes. Because I find this very interesting. It's very Justin Bieber coded. It's the energy of like, leave me alone. Paparazzi, stop taking pictures of me. Well, I'm going to say, Justin Bieber, stop going to Nobu. That's how I feel about that. There's certain people, she just publicly announced her separation. 2 seconds, or her divorce. She is a celebrity and she's married to a celebrity. She publicly announces her divorce and then posts on Instagram Live her arrest. She gets it 5150. And then 2 days later, all of these public 911 calls come out. So a couple days after her arrest, all of this stuff comes out. There has been 911 calls being made about Kelly Wolf for the last months and months and months. Multiple 911 calls have been made over her in the last 6 months, including by her to her home that she shared with Scott Wolf in Utah. And one of them was with her voice, and it's all been released in the last few weeks, because that's how this works. I don't need to play them for you. They're pretty traumatic to listen to. There's clearly something happening there, right? I have a lot of people that follow me who are personal friends of hers, and they all are saying the exact same thing. We are very concerned. We can't get through to her. We call her. She doesn't call us back. She doesn't pick up the phone. She doesn't text us back. She is not wanting help, and she's not able to be helped at this point. But she put out there that Scott Wolf is abusing her. And Billy Bush, my boy Billy Bush, you know how much I love Billy. Billy Bush came out and said, Scott Wolf is my good friend. And I believe Billy Bush is one of their child's godfathers. Speaking of godfather and godmother with Taylor Swift. And Billy Bush is like, they truly do not. Like, Scott Wolf does not abuse Kelly Wolf. This is such a sad situation. This is truly a mental health crisis. Now, I heard from many anonymous sources who are in her life, former and current, that there is a true, like, this is a ketamine mushroom situation. I don't know what Scott or what her family does in this situation, but this is what I believe is what's happening. I think that Kelly Wolf, this is alleged, but from so many of my sources, I have too many people that know both Scott and Kelly in my DMs and in text messages, my personal friends. I believe Kelly Wolf started doing like medicinal mushrooms and ketamine therapy. She's very close with Eric Neese, who I just showed you on her stories, who was a former Real World guy. Remember, he was like a Real World guy, and he was a MTV like host. Remember, we all used to be in love with him, and now he's like very into like the medicinal world. I don't know what that's called, all of that, but I think she like started going down that path, and who knows what's going on in her brain chemistry. And I think that that is what is happening. I don't know if there's other drugs involved, if it's pills, if it's anything, but it's clear that there's some sort of manic situation happening with the amount of posting, with the amount of talking, with the amount of public constant posting, and then yelling at everyone, and then telling them, leave me alone, and then posting, leave me alone. It's giving like, stop looking at me, but look at me. Stop looking at me, look at me. Don't look at me, look at me. Don't look at me, look at me. It's really scary. It's really scary. And if we remember with Matthew Perry, did Matthew Perry end up dying because of ketamine? Am I making that up? I believe ketamine was the final culprit in Matthew Perry's death. Ketamine is actually incredibly dangerous. So this is a scary situation, and I really actually am concerned. The good news is that Scott Wolf, who seems to be actually like a really good guy from all intents and purposes, every single person that I know who knows Scott has said that he's a phenomenal father, and he's a really good dad, and he's really on top of his shit, has stepped in, and he's been taking care of his kids. And he posted this just yesterday saying, on the road with my forever squad. And it's him with his 3 kids, and he's traveling with them. And thank God it looks like he's with his kids, and hopefully she's going to be okay. And I truly, really hope that she gets the help that she needs and her parents step in, because I don't think her friends are getting through to her. So I'm praying for her. And I can only imagine that this is what caused the demise of their marriage. And I feel so bad for the kids, because they're involved in all these 911 calls. They talk about them. So it's very, very sad. Very sad. And my gut feeling is why she was called 911 on that phone when she was on that retreat or at Sundance or whatever with her daughter is it's according to that call, there was a lot of people that were concerned about her. She was making very, very scary remarks. She was threatening her own life, etc. And her family was worried about her, and she was with her daughter. And I don't know if she was allowed to be with her daughter or they felt safe with her being with her daughter alone. Very scary. Very scary. So I'm actually really praying for them. I hope they're going to be okay. Truly. Okay. I don't have that much more time, so I'm going so long today. Thank you guys for sticking around with me today. Seriously. By the way, have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? And thank you for being here. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Let's get through to just a couple updates. The 23rd is around the corner. The 23rd is a big day in the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively case. We have the day, that is the day that we are going to have the update. That's the day that the amended case needs to come back from Justin Baldoni. And I think a lot of stuff is going to come back. We're going to see how they're going to be able to present their case. I'm praying to God that they're going to be able to have something with some meat and some, some strength with that, because I truly worry that it's going to be a strong, this entire, thanks, Robin, this entire case has been such a roller coaster. It really has been a roller coaster. The only nice thing about the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively case recently has been the win of the Taylor Swift texts. That to me has been the entire, the most positive win that I have seen in the recent weeks. And even then, I still feel like there's going to be something that happens that's going to kind of be a loss for us in some capacity. But I do worry a little bit that I don't know. There's a part of me that still worries that something is going to come back and take us down with that judge. And I don't know what's going to end up happening. But the good news is Blake Lively, according to the judge, must still turn over her texts to Justin Baldoni's legal team. What will be in those texts? We don't know. We do think that there will be a deposition on Monday. It should be on the deposition should be on Monday between Blake Lively and Brian Friedman. Is it going to happen? We don't know. Do you guys think it's going to actually happen or not? I have no idea. I feel like there's always going to be a way for them to get out of it. I don't know. But I would hope that at some point we do finally get a little bit of movement. I still feel in my gut that we still have a better case and the judge just somehow found a way. I'm still dying over the Leslie Dobson of it all. And I really, really hope that is going to be the thing that tears it all apart. I watched a little bit of the whole entire, I watched a little bit of Zach and Court of Random Opinions video yesterday when I was in the airport talking about Leslie Dobson, wackadoodle Me Too doctor. Can you guys get over that? Can you get over the fact that she gave those reports to us? I screenshot every single one of my DMs with her just in case she blocks me. Because once she blocks me, then all those DMs go away. So I literally screenshot every single one. And it's crazy, you guys. If I showed you my DMs with wackadoodle Me Too doctor, you would die. You would die. The things she says in the DMs are crazy. These are back from January and February. I should read some of them to you before I post them, but they're wild, 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 wild. It's going to be crazy. But I'm concerned a little bit. Why do you think she got so involved with this? Why do you think she was so, you know what she does say? You know what she does say in them? That she worked with Friedman. She does say Dr. Leslie Dobson DM'd me that she worked with Friedman before. Do you find that odd? So do you think that that's the connection? I forgot to tell you guys that. I'm actually very interested. Here, let me read it to you guys exactly. I had asked her who sent her the HR complaints that she sent me. She said a contact at Sony. She goes, I confirmed with many people and asked many people what the heck they were. I was informed they were summary complaints after Sony conducted an investigation of the longer form written and verbal complaints. Another thing, she goes, you know, I worked for Friedman last year on a huge case. Did you know that? Isn't that interesting? She said, we won. You know, I worked for Friedman last year on a huge case. We won. I can see him dropping this case and walking away. I wonder if he's been lied to by his own client. Just had that thought because a lot of this is out of character, she says. Interesting, right? We have to do some work on that. Who's going to do the research and find out if she actually worked with him or not? She said, he's an amazing lawyer. I'd want him on my side. I think there are very different kinds of lawyers. Blake's lawyers are very conservative and do not believe in using social media to sway cases. No, media to sway cases. It's very interesting what she says. She also thinks, she says, it sounds like Blake wanted to complain back in 2023. And then as this lawsuit moved forward, oh no, not Blake. Someone, one of the other actresses, wanted to complain back in 2023. And then as this lawsuit moved forward, she was paid off. I think the abuse was real, and then Sony paid her to deny it later or recently. It's wild. It's insane. Kinney. Not clear from the provided search results whether a doctor... Is it Elise or Leslie? Isn't it Leslie? I don't think it's Elise. I think it's Leslie Dobson. Check. Okay. Very interesting, you guys. I have 20 different... okay. And then really where the DMs go is that she really takes it to the head of Sony. She thinks it's the head of Sony. This comes from the head of Sony. I have so many incriminating DMs. It's wild. Okay. Let me get into that another day, but I really do believe we're going to get more information. I think this is going to be a big week coming up in the Justin Baldoni lawsuit. Okay. We're going to see. Based on the information, there is a connection between Dr. Leslie Dobson and Brian Friedman, though it appears to be related to Justin Baldoni. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Let's finally, before I go, because I don't have a lot of time, let's just talk really quickly about the Valley, because I promised you guys I would do a little chat about that. I have to. I'm telling you, the Valley is it's the only show that you should watch on Bravo. I mean, there's going to be a couple that you can watch. I actually was wondering, should I cover on this show? Should I cover Real Houses of Miami? I'm not sure if you guys like it or not, but let me know if you want me to cover it. I'm a couple episodes behind. I have to watch it. But it's actually kind of funny because what's his name? Seth Rogen was asked on some sort of like writer panel about the Valley, and this is what he had to say about it. It's actually so on brand. Listen to this.
Did you watch the Valley after show?
I have watched some of the
Almost as good as the Valley.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Valley this season?
Oh, it's amazing.
Is Jax too toxic for you, or how?
No, it's great.
I'm really worried about Jax.
Oh yeah,
I'm really worried.
we watch reality television.
Yeah.
I see the blank looks on everybody.
We're in the Valley.
Did you watch the Valley after show?
I have watched some of the
Almost as good as the Valley.
Yeah.
This is what we do to everyone.
The Valley is
It's a
a
I can't tell you
horrible.
how scared I was when you were talking, and then how good I felt when you were like, "It's reality."
It's like it's so Vanderpump Rules.
Ish.
It's an offshoot.
Which is an offshoot of
which is an offshoot of the
Housewives.
Real
This is an echo of an echo.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yes, it's an echo of an echo of garbage.
But it's so good.
But it is the worst indictment of heterosexual marriage I've ever
Yes,
seen.
it really is.
It's about like the San Fernando Valley. Is what
It's about
it's about Valley Village.
Valley
It's
Village.
Valley
It's the couples that have moved to the valley and are having children and
they are all in very bad places in their lives.
they're like
it's amazing.
You think reality shows most people are in bad places? That's sadly what people want to watch. These people
ones
are
are
in
really-
particularly bad.
It's so funny because they're so true. Like, it's the worst of the worst kind of people. It makes you feel better about your life. I love it. Okay, here's the thing about the Valley. I can't stand most of the people on the show. Jax Taylor sends shivers up my spine. He's horrendous. He's actually seriously the worst. If you could think of the most horrible, he's like Brian Albert in a younger body, okay? He's horrible. He comes out of rehab. He decides that in the first 24 hours, 48 hours of getting out of rehab, he gets a haircut. He moves into his new place. He probably, goes and tries to find a woman to F-U-C-K. And then he gets his Botox and decides not to see his son. And then blames his ex. She doesn't allow me to see my son. He never tried to see his son. Then when he's moving out of his house, Brittany, his ex, asks one of their co-friends, their mutual friends, can you log out of the camera system and leave me the key before you leave? And he goes, no, that's too much. I don't want to log out of anything until I see my son. He has an obsession with her. He's so controlling. He needs to see her at all times. He needs to see where she goes, when she comes in, when she goes out, he's psycho. He is a psycho person. He's a controlling, crazy person. He gets out of rehab and then finds out that there's a party that night. And he's like, I need to be there. What person comes out of rehab and is like, I need to go to a party? He's a sicko. Okay. He's a sick man. He's obsessed with himself. He also says the entire time, I don't have an issue with alcohol. I don't have an issue with drugs. I'm in rehab because of my anger. And then he gets angry 5 seconds after getting out of rehab. The entire time he's in rehab, he's rage texting. I mean, the worst rehab you've ever seen in your entire life. If this is a rehab, get my money back. This rehab did nothing. He's literally the worst rehab patient ever. He goes into rehab and comes out even worse. But I also blame Bravo. And I also can't believe that the women of Bravo, who are so loudly anti everything that is like toxic and abusive and anti anyone that like is this way in real life, are like throwing money at this network that employs Bravo and employs Jax Taylor. And that includes someone like an Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen and just the production company. I mean, Jax Taylor is so upsetting, although he has good TV. So it's very upsetting and very confusing. I'm very torn by the entire situation. So you have that. Then you have another couple where this guy likes to have, he has 15 kids basically under the age of 4, and he likes to tie one on and get a little drunk sometimes when he's allowed out of the house. And now they're all trying to make him an alcoholic. It's such a boring story. I can't. That's pretty much, I mean, most of the story is Jax and Brittany, but it's actually a pretty good show. I have to say, if you can get into the Valley, there's only 2 seasons. I would watch it. It's actually quite interesting, but I would tell any woman, in fact, this should be pivotal watching. If you have like a teenager or like a college age daughter, I would say go and watch the Vanderpump Rules seasons 1 through 10 or seasons 1 through 8 or whatever when Jax Taylor leaves, and then go on and watch the Valley. And don't marry that man. Like whatever you do, if you fall in love with that man, no matter how hot he is, no matter how amazing he is in bed, no matter how sweet he is, no matter how much money he has, it doesn't matter. This is not the man to marry because that's the man you're going to live with. He's going to be the man that you have to co-parent with. I couldn't think of anything worse. She stuck with him for the rest of her life. It sounds like hell, absolute hell. So Brittany is not great either because she's, put up with it, and she allowed for this by marrying someone who's openly cheated on her throughout their entire dating life. So, he was also $1.5 million in debt and back taxes before they even got married, and she let him put it on her house. That's a mistake, but whatever. What are you going to do? Anyway, you guys, I love you. Thank you so much for being here through a 2-hour episode of Daily Dose of Donna on a Saturday. I've got to get out of here because I've got to go down to Anaheim for VidCon. I love you. I will see you soon on Daily Dose of Donna. Make sure to check out the sponsors, Graza, Ollie, Alloy, and Dupe. Thank you for sponsoring the show, and I will see you guys soon. Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.